Welcome, Levi. We're excited to have you on the podcast.
Welcome, Levi Lindsey, the Utah LinkedIn influencer extraordinaire.
Oh,
I will say,
that's a real power move.
welcome to Scroll Sessions. My name is still Shane.
I'm Dan.
And today we have Levi Lindsey. Levi, tell us who you are real quick.
Just a kid trying to navigate my way through this life.
Well, Levi's got a pretty impressive resume. I think it all starts with you were an entrepreneur.
Yep.
You ran a
failulepreneur.
No,
a failtrepreneur.
I don't know about that.
you got out before it failed.
It was definitely like Indiana Jones sliding under the stone wall, and then he just grabs his hat right before he
Reaches out.
Tell me how Indiana Jones ends.
We'll find out. There's another one coming.
That's true.
But so you started out as an entrepreneur. Before you were an entrepreneur, though, I actually don't know this.
Oh,
What were you doing before Vid Army?
dude, I fixed windshields for 10 years.
You did tell us about this. You ran this little business. Well, not little business, but you ran
it was
another
little.
business. Yeah.
You ran a small to medium-sized
I think
business.
you made $1,000 profit a month.
That's what you were doing when you started Vid Army.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Were you going to school? Did you finish school?
I did. I went to Weber. I got the professional sales degree.
Nice. We're not going to make fun of that degree. We're just going to kind of make fun of that degree.
Just slightly. Just a little bit.
It's
Hashtag
yeah, you don't need it.
just
Yeah.
Weber.
It was just
Just
to
go
get a
sell.
piece of paper.
Yeah, just go sell.
Just go sell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
Go do dojo with Jaron Erickson.
Yes.
Who's
Jaren-
also one of our clients, actually.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah.
Yep.
So shameless plug.
Are you guys running his ads on TikTok right now?
Yes.
Yes, we are.
I got targeted, and then I ran
Nice.
into his dad that night, and I was like, "Dude, I saw Jaron on TikTok."
Oh, that's epic. That means that
It's working.
Yeah.
I get targeted
I didn't.
too.
I didn't convert.
Yeah, but you're also not ideal audience.
We're still working on middle of funnel. You'll be there soon.
So you guys are good at targeting the wrong audience.
Hey,
Hey, they just wanted to hit people in Utah, so
No, you got me.
yeah, good.
It had good engagement though.
It
Yeah.
did. Yeah, had great engagement.
No, I know he's about due for new creative though. Cool. So you were running a windshield repair business on your own, billing people's insurances, or what?
I had a partner. I started out as his employee. It's like one of my first viral post ever is my story about when I had hair down to my shoulders.
Oh, right.
And then he laughed me out of the building when I asked him for a job. And then I cut my hair, came back next day.
So
And he
can I
was
have a
like, oh,
job?
crap. I guess I have to hire you. And then I worked with him for 10 years from like 16 to even after my admission, it was, all the way till like 25.
Were you replacing windshields or just doing like
Just
rock chip repair? Just rock chip.
Like we'd post up at Nate Wade Subaru
Yeah.
or like Larry H. Miller Dodge or like a couple car washes. We had, I think, like 10 guys at our peak. And I shouldn't say guys because we had gals too. But we'd go in to the lobby and be like, hey, you have a rock chip. Your insurance would cover it for free. Call the insurance. And then like, I'd be on the phone with the insurance, fixing the rock chip, and then I'd go hand the phone to the customer, have them sign it, run back, put the injection in, and then go run back. I don't know. I kind
did
of
that
liked
for
it.
10
though.
years.
Like, I think about it, and I'm like, I was like my happiest I've ever been. Was just fixing windshields.
Why do you think that is?
I think just because I didn't have the pressure of providing for a family, so it just didn't matter.
That's definitely a pressure.
Didn't
for
matter
sure.
if I made money.
You're just having fun.
Just drilling holes in windshields.
Yeah.
And filling them up.
To be honest, I've never drilled a hole in a windshield, and that sounds kind of like it would be euphoric.
It's the same drill bit they use for your cavities.
Really?
That like we get them from dental offices
to cut glass and stuff.
So sometimes I'd like picture I was drilling into a tooth and it'd give me the ick.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't do
But
either.
it's specialized glass, not just like normal glass. So
Well, that's awesome. So you did windshields.
Yep.
And then you started Vid Army. Give us a little bit of insight into how that happened. Because obviously you weren't a videographer necessarily.
No, Johnny was. We met through church. We were living in my parents' basement when we graduated college.
You and your wife?
My wife and I.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were starting to provide.
And yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Not really.
Giving it your best shot.
Because then Johnny was already kind of doing it. He had a couple clients under the like $500 a month model. And then my wife was pregnant. We just graduated, living in my parents' basement, met Johnny. And I can't say I provided because my wife went and worked at Primary Children's full time.
As a nurse?
Like she worked all the way up till the day before she gave birth to our first.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
So I wouldn't have been able to do Vid Army because Johnny was doing real estate videos full time, and I did. I was full time in Vid Army for the first year.
Not making anything, or
yeah, I didn't.
You weren't really
I
taking much out.
I think it took like $1,200 out that December or something.
Okay.
Wow.
And then maybe a couple other times. But
So you were just building the business to start with your professional sales degree.
yeah,
Right.
And your experience in the windshield space.
and I hate sales.
Yeah.
But it just had the least amount of math because I hate math more than I hate sales.
Yeah. You know what?
I
I
get
was the
that.
same way. Before I dropped out, math was what held me back. I thought I'm going to go into marketing or I'm going to go into sales because I suck at math and I know all I have to do is math 1050 or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is so funny because I'm like with how analytical I think you are, it's funny to me that like you feel like math's a hard thing for you.
Yeah,
I love
but
it now,
Do you have
but-
ADHD?
Yes.
So you just don't
Diagnosed. I'm not just making that up.
you don't like things you're not interested in.
That's true.
And so you probably
Do
just
you like things you're not interested in?
No. I have ADHD, not diagnosed.
Oh.
Self-proclaimed ADHD. baby.
Self-diagnosed.
Wait. Yeah, you got it.
I
You
took
got
a quiz online. I think people could watch this conversation back and diagnose me.
I'm sure.
Be like, yeah, they just
Yeah.
went from windshields back to school.
Yeah.
But you don't like things you're not interested in. And so that's why I always struggled in school, is because if I wasn't interested in it, then I just could not
Do
focus on it.
Yeah.
Because if I'm into something, I will give it my undivided attention and I will like crush it.
Mm. Okay, so talking about Vid Army and getting it going then, I think a good lesson to learn is the fact that a lot of people, and we talked about this recently on another episode, but entrepreneurship, have you read the book The E-Myth, or are you familiar with the
Yeah.
book The E-Myth? So
Yeah.
that book changed my life when I was in school and was actually a big reason why I dropped out because it talks about the entrepreneurial myth of how it seems like people just dive in.
Seems
Right.
it's easy. It seems like it's easy.
Yeah, I have this idea. I'm going to dive in, put my whole life savings in it, risk everything, when really the best entrepreneurs are risk averse. And I guess speak to that a little bit, because with Vid Army, it sounds like you had started this business, you weren't getting paid, but your wife was making money. So how long did you have? Did you and your wife have a conversation where you said, hey, I'm going to go this long trying to build this? What was that like?
We fought about it a ton because my wife is very risk adverse.
Is that how she grew up?
I don't necessarily know if it was her upbringing as much as it is her personality is just she's more safe and steady. And she just hated that I wouldn't just go get a regular job. And I'd just be like, babe, I just feel it in my guts. Like, I want to be an entrepreneur so bad.
Yeah.
And it really caused a lot of arguments the first of our marriage.
How did you? Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, how do you navigate that? Because I think most entrepreneurs, for the most part, deal with that at some point with their spouse. So, like, how do you feel like it's better now, or you feel like you still have stuff? How have you gone through that?
I mean, it's all better now since my check clears every 2 weeks.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're back into kind of the steady job right now.
Employee
Huh?
mindset.
And in hindsight, like, I think she can see that I would not be where I'm at. I wouldn't be able to have a healthy income for our family right now if it wasn't for Vid Army.
Yeah.
Like, I tell people that was my master's degree.
Yeah.
Like, I would have had to get a master's or do a business probably to get where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
I totally agree, because to speak on Vid Army, I will say you guys blew up this model, and explain what the model was at Vid Army and what you guys were doing.
We'd film for an hour. We'd send a crew of 2 with a couple of lights, 2 cameras, couple tripods, and some microphones. And so we did mostly like talking head videos or like hype videos, or like a combination of the two, where you'd be a talking head and then we'd show B-roll, they call it, during the video. So that like if you're talking about your candle company, you'd show a shot of your candle while you're talking. Like that was really our bread and butter. So we'd shoot for an hour and we'd get like all the talking head stuff done in the first like 40 minutes and then get all the B-roll done in the last 20 minutes. And then we could chop that up into usually like 3 or 4 videos. And you were $500.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're doing it for $500, and that was kind of the kicker with your guys' offer.
Yeah, and you had a guerrilla marketing approach, I feel like, to it. I mean, you are the reason, in my eyes, you are the reason that Vid Army was so well known and got this opportunity and gave you so many opportunities post Vid Army, because everyone saw what you were doing on LinkedIn and thought, everyone's working with Vid Army. They're huge.
Yeah,
We made it look so much bigger.
Yeah,
we made it look like pretty put together. Even though behind you pop that, it was like
the hood.
It looked like a Ferrari, and then you pop open the hood, and it's a 1992 Honda Accord engine.
Hey, or a Model T, or a Model T, however you want.
We were good at not letting people pop the hood open.
Yeah,
but to go back, I was not the primary reason people knew about us. Like we all grinded as owners, and like Nick Staggy coming on board really helped add fire to the flame.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess I just had only really seen you because I guess I had followed you.
No, it was all me.
Yeah.
It was all Levi. But then, so...
You twisted my arm. It was all me.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, now that I look back. Just kidding.
And to be like totally frank, it infamously imploded in Utah. Yeah, and like, I guess, what do you feel like was the main cause of that, and what caused you to then leave and kind of take a different path?
So, I've never like candidly talked about it. So we'll see how this goes.
You don't have to.
You don't have to.
No, I think people are curious. Johnny wanted to spend more time with his family. I didn't agree with that because I had spent a lot of time away from my family, and put a lot into the business, and we kind of kept fighting over who contributed more. And I was really immature in my response to Johnny, like wanting to spend more time with his family, because I was so stressed, like, and not making much money because all the money was always going back into the business. So it really stressed me out, and I didn't know what to do. And I was a young entrepreneur, young in the corporate world in general. And so my responses were just very immature, and a really good learning experience. Like I was not able to take emotion out of it. And so Johnny and I just really started butting heads and disagreeing over like how much time. I think he wanted me to say, and I don't want to speak for him, but I feel like he wanted me to say like, yeah, go spend all the time you need with your family. We'll take care of things. Like, don't worry. We'll make sure you guys have the money you need. But the money just wasn't there to do that. And I wasn't in a good headspace to like write a message back to him and say like, go spend the time that you need with your family. And so I think things just started getting misconstrued. And then pretty soon we started talking through lawyers like pretty quick after that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trying to make it work.
Which makes things super hard.
And then we didn't have an operating agreement. And so then it was just like, then it was us fighting over emotion and not like what the business was just at the end of the day worth.
Yeah.
And then we wanted to buy him out. He wanted to buy us out. And then at the end of the day, he ended up with the company.
Well, I think that
after a year of struggling,
that's way more common in business than people realize, right? We've bought out a partner in the past and moved on, and he's a great person. I just went to lunch with him recently. And people have differences, people will disagree, and there is no right or wrong unless you're being unethical. But there is no right or wrong. It's just a matter of we see things differently. It's time for us to move on. But an operating agreement in business is so important because it sets that standard up front of here's what you're going to do. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's what we're dedicating ourselves to, and protects
Everybody
protects you
involved.
both in the long run.
Yeah.
Agreements prevent disagreements. I think you told me that.
Yeah.
I think I did.
You probably did.
I love, and you know who told me? I think it was like Adam Nugent who told me that.
By the way, quoted that on our last episode,
Yeah.
but I took full credit.
No, I love that. And someone else told me, you can, because it wasn't mine. Someone else told me that, like, once you get things in writing, then you can trust people completely.
Yeah.
But it's so common in business to be like, this person would never, like, we'll never disagree, or this person will never screw me over, or like, this will never blow back on me. Like, yeah.
You never know until it happens.
Yeah.
So what was the biggest lesson for you after exiting Vid Army? What do you feel like you've learned the most from that exit and from moving forward?
I think no matter what anyone thinks or says or feels, get it in writing, get an operating agreement right from the get-go. Try to think of worst case scenarios and get them in the agreement. I also think the biggest thing I learned is don't get so attached to outcomes. That's why I really struggled when Vid Army shut down, as I was so attached to the outcome of success of Vid Army for so long. And I felt like if Vid Army wasn't successful, then all that time was a waste. I can look back now and see that it really wasn't, because I built a LinkedIn network and
you learned more than you ever could have doing just a normal job.
Yeah, I learned a crap ton about what I'm good at, what I'm not good at. But at the time I thought like, oh, that was all for nothing, and I burned myself out. And so that's when shortly after I started having suicidal thoughts and attempted suicide, is because I was just like, even if I could wrap my mind around the fact that it was over and it was going to be fine, I think I had just trained my body and my mind so hard to focus on that outcome that when it didn't happen, my body just did not know like where to put focus.
Just like gave up.
Yeah.
So you feel like you were tying your mental health to the outcome of the things that the business you were building.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you feel like all of your mental health was wrapped up in that at the time? Like that was just everything to you?
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's why, like, I don't know. I think about this even now. Like, you talk to ad buyers, and they'll tell you that it's probably hard to when you don't have a good day, or a good sales day, or you don't close enough, or you don't convert enough, that it's hard to not tie your mental health to that outcome. I think it's just hard in general. Like you guys probably have had it in certain points in Scroll where certain milestones aren't hit, or things don't go as planned, and it's hard to not tie your mental health to it.
And how did you get yourself through that? Did you rely on other people? Did you feel like you pulled yourself out of it? How did you get yourself out of that situation? That's pretty much rock bottom.
Yeah, it did just take time to recover from burnout, and Kizik was a really great place for me to heal.
Yeah.
Because it's just a very trusting environment. Like Kizik was really cool because it's like, I don't care if you're at the office or you're not. I mean, there's certainly times where we were all at the office, but like most days no one was like, hey, where are you going? It's 2:00. And that was a really good place for me to heal mentally from burnout.
How was Vid Army different than that? Do you feel like you had built a different culture than that?
No, I think the culture is similar, but when you're in the thick of it, of a business, fighting with your business partners, and things are all going to crap, like you're thinking about that at 3 a.m, and you can't not think about it when it's your business.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally. You can't shut it off. It's a lot harder to, for sure.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. Literally last night I woke up because my dog was like going to throw up or something. This is kind of a side tangent, but I wake up at 4 a.m. and to go and figure out whatever's going on with my dog. Nothing happens. And then I started thinking about work, what I had to do for the day. And I just grabbed my laptop, went out on the couch and thought, I'm not going to fall back asleep. And I worked on my own stuff. I worked on Scroll. I worked on, vision boards, whatever for the future, because when you get so addicted, it's addicting, and you tie your personal worth and well-being to it sometimes.
it's hard to not like entangle the confusion of your work and a hobby.
Yeah.
Like I really struggle with like I think I confuse my body by making it think that work is a hobby. And I enjoy my work, and so I think it's easy to confuse myself sometimes. But like you do have to force yourself to have hobbies if you enjoy your work.
And to turn it off.
Yeah.
And to like actually like step back. I remember when you and I had a conversation, I think it was like the first year or two that we were in business, about like, it was along these lines of like doing work during certain hours. It's like, man, I have to set boundaries for myself, or else I just know myself. Like I will just work myself out. Like this whole weekend I put in all new floors in my house, and I just kept going. I worked 10-hour basically days every single day to get it done.
I helped him for 1 hour.
Shane did come and help, but like
Barely.
I totally get that, and I feel that because I think a lot of entrepreneurs at least are somewhat similar in that regard, with like this incessant drive to do it, and then when you mix poor mental health with that, it's like a recipe for disaster eventually, because eventually it'll catch up with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you get at, obviously Kizik was a good spot for you to heal because you felt like you had balance, I guess. Would you describe it as balance?
Yeah. And if I think I was detached enough, especially in the beginning. I mean, I got more and more involved in Kizik, but certainly in the beginning when I was new, if Kizik didn't do well that day, I wasn't like, oh man, I've poured my whole heart and soul into Kizik. It was like, it just got here.
Yeah.
It was like, and as far as I can tell, like it seems like they're doing fine financially, and there is growth. But it was nice to be in an environment where my mental health wasn't super tied to outcomes. I didn't have a lot of skin in the game yet, and so it was a really good environment to heal.
How have you dealt with pressure since? Because pressure and tying your worth to that pressure seems to have been like kind of triggering for you.
Yeah.
Is that how have you dealt with pressure as you've moved on from, because your career's exploded
The last couple of years,
and obviously your mental health seems to be in like a great spot.
at least from the outside. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not,
it's
Levi.
the Ferrari on the outside. You pop the hood.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good question. It's the irony is I am kind of addicted to the struggle, and so like very quickly into Kizik, I wanted more. I wanted a title bump like pretty quick. I wanted like I asked for a lot of things and more responsibility and more pressure very quickly, and then I went to Neighbor and like got what I wanted. I got more pressure, and the grass is always greener.
Yes, it always is.
And then, it's at Shyft, I'm in a much more stressful position than I was in that time post Vid Army, but just trying to keep on that balance, that flow zone, like I talked about on Trevor's podcast, just barely.
Oh yeah. What do you
mean by
flow
that?
zone? You should pull up the flow zone chart
Yeah,
from
yeah.
this podcast in post, but
okay.
I love the flow zone chart where if you're stretching yourself too much, you're in anxiety. If you're not stretching yourself enough, you're in boredom. But then there's that flow zone where you're stretching yourself just enough, but you're not like wasting potential at the same time.
It's kind of I do a podcast with my friends. Not a shameless plug, don't worry. It's called The Conference Room. And we talked about Wu Wei, which is this, I honestly still don't understand it, but the principle is similar to a river, right? Like if a river is flowing too quickly, it's very dangerous. But if it's not flowing fast enough, then you get stagnant water and, things don't make it to the Great Salt Lake like they're supposed to.
And then it dries up, and then the toxins release.
And then everybody
Yeah.
dies of
And
cancer.
that's why we're asking you to sign a petition today. No, but a river needs a good flow in order to be efficient, and that flow state is really important in our lives. And I can feel in my life when that's disrupted. Like I felt it this morning. Obviously, working 4 to 6 a.m. Even if I wasn't working or doing something, that wasn't productive for me. That wasn't worth my time. So how do you continually stay in a flow state then? Or how do you stay in flow? Do you have certain tactics?
I love what Kurt, the Kickstart guy. It's Kurt, right?
Kurt Kickstart guy. As
yeah,
in like
sure. Jamie, pull that up.
I think it's like
Just kidding.
Kurt
pull that
Roberts.
up.
Kurt Roberts said this. Let me just like
Kickstart Fund, like in Utah.
yeah,
Is
he's
that what you're
from
talking
Kickstart
about?
Fund.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and we have
Yeah, it's Kurt. Okay, Kurt Roberts said this one time at a breakfast that I went to, which is know thyself, and I think that's a big part of it because I look at Shyft and like what Alex Burge, our CEO, does, and the stuff that he's just really good at taking emotion out of every situation, taking a step back, looking at it very objectively, really good at relationships and outcomes. There's things that he can do that I know I could not do them. And so I'm not trying to be a CEO because I know I don't want to be, and I would immediately get into that anxiety zone. I'm not great with employees. I do need to manage employees, but I don't think I can manage a whole company of employees because I'm such a people pleaser. And
they're like, we fire
you need
this
to be
guy.
less agreeable.
yeah,
Yeah, you need to be less agreeable.
I love where I've landed though at Shyft because I get to be on podcasts, go to lunches, do networking events at Disney like we're doing next week. And
I really appreciate the invite to Disney, by the way.
Oh yeah. Come on.
I was waiting
Levi.
for the invite for the podcast.
Well, now that that's happened, I guess we can go to Disney now.
Yeah. We just pay our own way. We're like, hey guys, what's up?
Oh, what? You're
Well,
here?
you guys are here?
What the heck?
Totally just destroy this
Well,
whole
I guess I never
party.
thought of that. Like anybody could come that day and be part of it.
You're like, it's for e-commerce owners, Shane. You don't own an e-commerce brand.
Hey, your wife does.
Yeah.
Shameless
true.
plug.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. Man, we're plugging me today. Just
Esnick.
kidding.
.co.
But yeah, I love where I'm at because I'm stretching myself and my abilities with getting Kano and launching that off the ground. We'll probably do another joint venture or acquire another business this year. And so starting multiple businesses and then being able to use my networking skills and LinkedIn and awareness skills and content.
Well,
That's what I love to do.
talk about a little, I guess, for people that are listening, what Shyft Global is, what you guys are about, what's your mission, what do you do?
So Shyft Global, everything from designing a product and making it ready to manufacture, and then manufacturing it and then getting it here in the US, like supply chain, product design, all of that is what Shyft does.
Okay.
And then your role, give an example of what your role is through like Kano, what you just did.
So we just acquired kanodog.com. And so we're building out a product roadmap right now. Sorry, but I should
I know I said plug.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
It kind of sounded like a
burp.
burp.
It sounded like burp.
If
It
you were
did
in the
sound like a
microphone,
burp.
you'd hear me go plug.
So we just
Kanodog.com.
So we just acquired Kano. So right now we're getting that off the ground. We want to own our own brands. And so we're looking at starting at least one other or acquiring one other. So
Cool.
I get to do all the marketing for brands we acquire or start. Then I'm also doing marketing for other clients that we have.
Oh, cool. So
and
do you
then-
guys do marketing for customers?
Yeah. So like we'll do rebrands or content. And that's not something that we like advertise much because we're not like trying to grow it a ton. But if clients need help with marketing, we can offer those services. And so we've done some video production, some photo shoots, stuff like that. But then also using those capabilities for our own brands that we'll start.
So you're tied to the success of these products now. It's a big part of what your role is for them, right?
Yeah.
Making sure.
I kind of, it's like being an entrepreneur without the pressure of having to not take a paycheck or, it's definitely a pretty unique situation that I don't think many people get the opportunity, which is to have a full-time job of starting companies.
And getting paid to do it.
Yeah, and getting paid to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not quite in the VC world.
Space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because ew.
Because VC.
Well, what's
likes
cool about
VCs?
Shift is all bootstrapped.
Yeah.
Alex Burge and Mark Burge started it 6 years ago, and they haven't taken a penny from investors. And they did 21 million last year.
Crazy.
Wow,
And
that's
so
awesome.
They're in a cool position where they can start to diversify their income streams and revenue streams, and so
Yeah.
I certainly have to answer to them, but it's nice to not have to answer to like big investment groups for now. I'm sure we'll take some on at some point, but
Yeah. Well, I think that you are in this awesome spot of being an intrapreneur after being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, no kidding.
Maybe weigh the pros and cons of entrepreneurship versus intrapreneurship. Because I'm in a position, and Dan's in a position where we're entrepreneurs and we were able to grow our company to the point where now we don't really have to worry about getting a paycheck. Like we know it's going to clear every 2 weeks, hopefully. And, and we've been able to set aside a little bit of money. And I will say that point, I mean, it took 4 years to get to that point, and we went through hell and back over 4 years to get there. But now I almost feel like I'm an intrapreneur again, and it feels good. So that's kind of a weird way to say it, but for you,
pros and cons for you, I
Tell
guess.
me why this thing that I built is awesome.
no. But I
Yeah.
mean, so for me, the path of entrepreneurship worked out, luckily.
Yeah.
And I didn't really have another option because I don't have a degree.
It wasn't overnight. It took 4 years,
Yeah.
and we worked freaking hard to do it.
Yeah, we had, but if this didn't work, I see the pressure, I feel the pressure, and I know that I only eat what I kill. So to people listening that are considering entrepreneurship or intrapreneurship, I want to say entrepreneurship can be really bountiful. Like you can really reap the rewards of it, but it's not for everyone. And it takes
Because it can have extremes.
a lot of extreme moments. So intrapreneurship, why has that been so beneficial to you?
What I love about it, and to be clear, when you're the entrepreneur, you're the investor, or you're the one, like the more risk you take on in business, the more reward you get if it works out.
Yeah.
Yep.
More failure you get if it fails.
And exactly.
Exactly.
And so intrapreneurship is awesome because I get to fringe a lot of the risk on myself, which I think I definitely am a lot. I'm trigger shy from my experience of entrepreneurship, of like things can fall apart. I still have to pay off some stuff from Vid Army, even though I really didn't make
years
anything
ago.
off of that business.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But
And that was 4 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
3 years ago.
Yeah, 3-4 years ago. So I think it fringes a lot of the risk to me. But then I also have to be okay with the fact that I'm not going to get as big of a paycheck as the people that risked more.
Yeah.
I think your job is more, I think being an entrepreneur, your job is a little more on the line as when an entrepreneur, your life is kind of on the line, I guess. So pick your poison, you know?
Yeah. Again, pros and cons, I would say entrepreneur, you're deciding who is sticking around, right? Intrapreneur, you may be deciding a lot of people that are sticking around, but you don't always decide your fate. But the problem with entrepreneurship is if someone like Levi, you had to get let go from Shyft, odds are they would be really, really suffering at that point, and they'd probably have to let themselves go too. You know what I mean?
Shyft would be fine. That's what's nice, is jumping onto a moving ship is really good too. But once again, you don't get those rewards of being early stage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But you're lucky enough to be at Shyft at a really good time where you get to probably see some of that reward.
Then you could have more fun.
Dive in.
For sure. We're definitely at that inflection point, that's another thing I've really found is that's where I like to join companies like Kizik. Kizik now does not look anything like it did 2 years ago.
Kizik's crazy.
And it's about to just get like even crazier,
more
like just
bonkers.
you watch. And then neighbor.com wasn't where they were when I started. But I love that stage of a company where it's like, okay, we've grinded through the first few years and we've gotten through a lot of the bull crap and we're sustainable enough where we are in growth mode. We've proven the concept. We're not going to fold tomorrow. And we're right at that inflection point where some people know about us, but not everyone knows about us. That's where I really like to join a company.
And that's why you left Scroll.
That's why I left Scroll.
Yeah, let's talk about that for just a little bit. We almost hired you.
No. You hired me.
Yeah, we did hire you for one day.
I was the CMO of Scroll for a day.
Oh, we don't have it up anymore.
Where's my cool phrase?
Yeah, I know. So, yeah.
We did.
I exited Vid Army.
Sorry, it was so short that I didn't even consider it. Sorry, Levi.
Well, I like to say that one day that I was CMO at Scroll is like you can tie all your success back to that one day.
Yeah. We are Levi's #1 case study.
It was a fun day.
It was a really fun day.
It was a fun day.
In our weird warehouse office.
It was a cool office. I loved the Utah Jazz colors, remember, on the windows.
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's talk about this for a second. So you had left Vid Army at the time. It wasn't soon after.
I mean, it was
a couple
2
months.
weeks.
Was it 2 weeks?
Oh, it was like 2-3 weeks.
Okay.
Maybe at most.
So you posted on LinkedIn when you were exiting Vid Army, and what did you say on LinkedIn?
I think I was just like, I probably painted it really pretty, like, oh, I've decided to exit my company and
for sure.
And I'm on to the next adventure. Hit me up.
How many companies hit you up?
Quite a few, for sure. Some real doozies. Like one guy offered to pay me in all his own cryptocurrency. And I was like, bro, I gotta make I need American dollars. Like I'm thinking USD. Actually.
Yeah,
he's like, that's the name of my coin.
USD stable coin. Actually, so, I'd prefer that.
Yeah, and I got a bunch of like co-founder stuff of like companies that hadn't been started yet, and it was. I'm really blessed that I was able to actually like land an actual job that paid me money after that because my life could have gone differently probably, but then we had lunch.
At where?
I mean, I had lunch with you guys. I had lunch with Kizik, and a few others. We had Caputo's.
Yeah, we did have
delicious.
Caputo's. It's always good.
It's not first date food though. I got the pastrami burger or pastrami sandwich.
Yeah, pastrami burger,
and it was probably just like all over me. It's one of those foods that you have to take a shower after.
Yeah,
it's very delicious.
It's super good food.
We went to lunch and we were like, "Hey,
we like you. You like Levi."
We were getting into content at the time.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did want to start like our content side of things. I think it was just the three of us, and then we got Mason involved
later
at a dinner that we had, I think like the next week or whatever.
Fat Fish and Bountiful.
That's right. That is
it's some good pho.
Yeah. And somehow I convinced you dudes to hire me as chief marketing officer.
Dude, we were doing like 60, 70,000 a month. So when we brought you on, I mean,
I remember we talked about it at length. It was would have been at that point, I think the second probably biggest decision we made other than bringing Mason on as a partner.
I just ripped it out. I feel so bad because like when I was working at Scroll for my first day, Kizik was calling me and like
I knew something was up.
Yeah. Well, I just wasn't. I once again some last little immaturity.
And that's okay.
I had to get out of my system.
Yeah. I remember
I was like walking the parking lot talking to Kizik, and we were like finalizing numbers on my offer, and I was like, and I didn't tell them I just started a CMO job at Scroll.
Did they eventually know?
I don't know if I ever told them. No.
Not that it mattered.
No, not that it mattered.
So it honestly, I think my life would have been just as great, if not better.
Way better.
That's okay. I think it was meant to be. Sure. I believe.
Sometimes that's what makes decisions hard is when it's like I've got two good choices in front of me, and I had a couple good choices.
Yeah. No, I think, and that's life all the time. We're lucky enough to be in a place where I think very often we have multiple good choices in front of us, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of bad choices we can make in this world, but for the most part, at least what I've noticed is that I'm usually picking between two good things. And that is a really good spot to be in.
That's a
So
privilege
you
for
got
sure.
put into this awesome situation because here's what I think. I think that your LinkedIn presence proved your value, and everyone knew whatever Levi touches is gonna turn to gold, because even what you did with Vid Army, even though under the hood there were issues going on financially, your job wasn't to manage all that. Your job was to set this brand up for success. And you did that with Vid Army, and you did it successfully. So regardless of the finances, you successfully set up that brand
To look amazing.
Yeah.
And everybody knew it. Everybody was like, what the heck is Vid Army? What are they doing? Like everybody knew who you were and you did your job. It just sucked that everything internally just absolutely was the worst, you know?
And I think that's what I found that I'm good at is just bringing awareness to brands, and that's what marketing is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's where I get to live in my, I don't like calling it genius space, but I get to thrive in where I'm talented, where I'm most
Yeah.
comfortable.
Totally.
Making goofy videos in an alien costume or
tell us
yeah,
about that.
that's what-
You've
what-
had a couple stuff with Kizik, with Neighbor, and now with Shyft, with things you're involved in now. What are some of your favorite things that you've been able to do with each of these companies?
Really, I think what we want to get into is that guerrilla marketing approach that you've taken, because you're not a paid guy, right? You don't dabble a lot in paid marketing. Like,
Yeah,
what is your marketing expertise? What are you good at, Levi?
I certainly have learned out of necessity to talk the language of paid and talk about CACs and ROAS and LTV and all that.
What's
good
that?
stuff.
You're on a
We'd have
marketing-
a
Scrolls.
problem.
This is the Scroll CEO.
LTV.
What is that? Is that a
Is that
learning
like a
technician?
light television? What-
Wait, that's like LCD televisions, right? No,
but yeah, I'm a creative. I'm definitely not a performance guy, but I do really geek out over creative that performs. Like I love in marketing the constraints that you have. A lot of creatives, and you probably get this, Dan, where it's like a lot of creatives love to just create, and they have their artistic vision. But when you're doing marketing creative, it has to serve a purpose.
Yeah, it has a fit in a box, some sort of box that's your end goal, you know.
But the most beautiful marketers that we all celebrate know the overlap between education and entertainment.
Yep.
Or in industry speak, brand and direct response.
Yeah.
So I really love the intersection between
The two
direct
of those.
response and brand, or education and entertainment.
See, I think that is a big issue that even we run into with our biggest customers, where they are begging for some direct response results, and they're getting them at a good cost. But then they see this brand awareness cost, and they think we don't want to spend money there.
We're just going to remove that.
Yeah, let's remove that and just put it all towards direct response. And we have to kind of coach them and guide them and say, well, if you put it all to direct response, then direct response stops existing.
Yeah.
Because this top of funnel brand awareness needs to exist. So you at Neighbor, after you left Kizik, your role at Neighbor was creative director.
Creative director, yeah.
Tell us about what the main goal was when you got hired on and some of the accomplishments you had, because there are a few that are really cool.
I think one thing that was really attractive was my desire to really grow a TikTok channel.
Yeah.
And grow organic in general. And so the team and I were able to grow TikTok. I mean, we grinded for a few months and really just banging our heads against the wall, but we finally had some good success with the alien campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah, what
Super fun.
What in your brain said, "Hey, I'm gonna
dress up as an
do this."
alien.
I saw
This is what I don't understand about creative directors. It's so crazy.
I saw a girl at a computer on TikTok wearing Thanos, like a full Thanos prosthetic makeup, but she just looked normal from the neck down, but had a Thanos head. And the juxtaposition, it dawned on me. I was like, a lot of people in like the Squatty Potty days and the Harm Brothers days, the juxtaposition there was like it was interesting to have humor, that kind of humor in ads, and
With a
and to
funky
have,
product.
and to have a funky product. But what I was thinking, and my theory that I put to the test at Neighbor was, will people like the juxtaposition of a character that they'll see in ads that's in prosthetic makeup? Because there wasn't anything crazy revolutionary about an alien in prosthetic makeup selling you a product direct to camera.
Sounds a little weird to me,
But it's been done. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Satan's sold products like Halo
sure.
ice cream and
oh, right.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah. Okay. I get what you're saying.
It's been done. Like
So it's
character selling products
plenty
for
of
sure.
like manly bands did aliens. Like, there's plenty of aliens. But I was like, what about the juxtaposition of putting that prosthetic makeup character out in the real world, UGC TikTok style? And so I think that's where we kind of hit some stride.
yeah.
With the interview, then you did interviews. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
You did like interviews like out in Provo Mall and
Yeah, and
Traverse
interviews were really
and-
trending.
yeah.
But we still even had a unique twist on that, which was we have an alien out interviewing.
Yep.
And one thing I found is in my creative career is we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to build things from the ground up. I think in creative, when it's usually just taking something and putting your own twist on it, or putting two things that already exist and mashing them together.
Yeah.
So you started Neighbors TikTok from zero, right?
Yeah, I was at 0.
And then how much did it grow while you were there doing some of these techniques?
I think by the time I left, it was 280,000 followers.
And how your biggest videos had done how many millions?
Altogether, we had like 80 plus million organic views.
It's pretty
That's
awesome. And that would
crazy.
be, I mean, probably several $100,000 worth of paid if you're going to, put paid behind it.
Yeah, what if you do let's say you do
Like
a
to get-
$30 CPM?
Yeah.
What's that?
Jamie, pull it
I
up.
don't know the math off the top of my head.
on the screen.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot of money. It would cost, several $100,000 worth of paid marketing to get that kind of view.
For sure. And granted, it's not direct response in the way that,
It's brand awareness.
but yeah, it certainly got people's attention. And people don't realize the halo effect. And that was one thing I learned about at Neighbor was we were trying to accomplish that halo effect where it's at the top of funnel all the way down to the bottom funnel on the landing page. Granted, Neighbor should have ran it longer, but we had billboards in Denver and LA, and we had TV ads running, YouTube ads running, and top of funnel, middle funnel, bottom funnel, static ads that were direct response at the bottom of the funnel, and then a landing page. Everything matched the alien. We had the alien over everything. Same color scheme, typography, all that stuff. So the hope is that like you would see a viral TikTok, and then you'd see a billboard, and then you'd see a TV commercial, and then you'd get targeted with the ad and you'd convert. It does take some time, and we ended up pivoting and doing what most clients do, which is let's go back to direct response.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
to backtrack a little bit, the way I kept putting it to Neighbor is you guys have been going out and asking everybody to get married, but you haven't been dating anybody. And that top
That's
of funnel is dates.
Yeah.
It's like you can always go out and find people that are willing to get married right now. I mean, for heck's sake, this is Utah.
Just go to Provo.
Just go to Provo.
But
Any man there.
You're gonna have a lot more success if you go on dates.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
better success that will last longer.
Yeah.
Like in all reality, like you've worked somebody down that whole funnel at the point that they eventually fall in love with you and stay with you forever.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm just going on a tangent again, but I think like you look at all of the brands that we love, like that we wear forever, right? Like right now, like I'm obsessed with Howler Brothers, but I think I had my uncle tell me about him. I saw an ad. I saw like 6 or 7 things before I ever bought anything. Then what convinced me was my uncle, because I saw his stuff. And then now I have like 12 shirts from them, and I love their stuff, and I will have their stuff forever.
Yeah. And things are, it's really fascinating to hear people talk about the dark funnel, where it's not even so much a funnel anymore. It's more flat than it's ever been. And there's so many different channels to approach conversion from, and they're all not really talking to each other anymore. And so you really just have to do it all and be everywhere and be pushing it hard everywhere. And just because you convert through Facebook doesn't mean they didn't watch your YouTube ad. And just because they credit YouTube doesn't mean that their uncle didn't tell them about it.
Yeah.
And so it's not even really a funnel anymore as much as it is just like
being places that where the eyeballs are.
Yep,
Where the eyeballs
just being
are.
everywhere all the time. And that's why content is so freaking important. And yeah.
And it will be more in the future now. I mean, Google's kind of pushed back the whole cookie thing again and again and again because it's how they make money. But eventually cookies and tracking will become almost obsolete because of this privacy, because of regulation. So literally the only thing that we're going to have in probably 3 years is content.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's going to be the only thing.
And it'll be more speculative like traditional
advertising
media
again.
channels are, like billboard and TV.
Yep.
Well, I know the guys at Bestie, the guys at Bestie are making an awesome tool right now that I believe firmly is a big solution to what is a massive problem. And that is CFOs arguing with CMOs and creative directors on, hey, we need to spend money on direct response, and them saying, hey, we need a full funnel. Without a full funnel, all of this is going to dry up like the Great Salt Lake. And that argument just keeps happening back and forth, where Bestie is this post-purchase survey software that helps attribute where people actually came from. And
use code Shane10 to get 10% off.
Shane10. No. But I'm just such a huge fan of what they're building because I live in this space every day, just like you do.
Yeah.
And it's a massive problem, and it's going to get bigger because the dark funnel is so real. So to be able, not even a simple survey, but what they do that's so cool is they'll send out that survey and it'll say, how'd you hear about us? An ad. And it'll pop up 6 different ads. Which one? Or was it this billboard? And it'll be a picture of the billboard. Was it this? Was it your grandma? Was it your friend? And it makes it so easy for people to tell where they heard about the brand. So I think that it will never be perfect.
Yeah.
Right.
It was like somebody won't remember exactly, but it gets you a pretty good data set to know where to put more money, where to put more eyeballs, stuff like that. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So building brands is what you're going to be doing for the next how many years? When are you retiring?
Yeah, I don't know. I really want to do.
What's the future for Levi?
One of the things for going to Shyft and really having a desire to start brands is Kizik was going to be a success without me. Neighbor was going to be a success without me. I wanted to see if I could be one of the main players of a brand and take it to that 100 million annual revenue.
So cool.
Very cool.
So my goal in the next 5 years is to take Shyft's brands and help them become $100 million brand. A brand that in 5 years we'll be talking on a podcast and I'll say Kano and you'll be like, everyone
Kano.
on the podcast will know.
Yeah.
We want to start on the brand side. That is our goal, is to start the next household name brand.
So what's your approach in marketing for Kano, for example, for the next year?
It's a heavy mix of product and marketing working together. That's what's really cool about Shyft is I've been able to, as the marketing person, sit in on product meetings and being like, man, it'd be really cool to have this feature to sell the product with. Or like, it'd be really cool to have this just because it would be really funny. And it would I could make some noise with that and make some content around it. So the synergy between marketing and product at Shyft, I think, is where a lot of magic is going to happen.
Well, we had Jay Davis, who founded Pillow Cube, on the podcast, and I think that's a great example of,
freaking love Jay.
Dude, he is.
Yeah, it was a fun episode.
So smart.
It was a
He's
great
going
conversation.
to Disney next week.
Oh, thank you again.
Well,
thank you for the no invite. Next time we'll go to Disney and not invite Levi.
Maybe
no, never. Jay, in Jay's defense, he has built a massive e-commerce brand.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, Jay's awesome.
It's only fair.
I'm totally messing with you guys. I'm gonna look like the biggest dick on this podcast.
Not at all.
It's only because we're friends, Levi.
Yeah. No, but Jay has created this awesome product where product and marketing can work together, because you see this cube and you're immediately like, wait, is that comfortable? I don't know. It catches you off guard. So are those some of the concepts that you have for Kano, for example, making it this unique product so it's more easily sellable?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And I don't think people I don't think people totally get that when they're starting a product company is like Kizik, for example, you see someone step into the shoe and you see that heel pop back and it's burned in your mind. And like basically all their marketing is done for them right then. Then everything else is basically supportive marketing. But
Yeah, Pillow Cube does that unique product and marketing approach. That's kind of your goal with Kano.
yeah, we're hoping to launch some pretty unique products that will have potential that the content will be exciting because of the product.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then your marketing approach is really what kind of ad spend are you given up front? You don't have to share.
We're starting slow, and I think even big companies will start companies and joint ventures and stuff like that, hoping that it will just take off.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes you can get lucky, but I think no matter what your budget is or who you are, you have to grind when you're starting a brand.
Yeah.
And it's because you have to date people before they want to get married. So
Yep.
you like if you're just going in with no ad history or brand equity and you're trying to start a product, like you have to be prepared to spend some money and not get the ROAS you want for at least a month or two. And you have to be willing to go to a couple farmers markets and send out to influencers and just like hit the keyboard and message a bunch of people and try to get into a news article. And that's what marketing really is anyway. Just the more you scale, the more people own certain categories. But at the end of the day, it's being everywhere as much as you can and putting as much as you can out there as you possibly can.
Yeah, because you never know what's going to work.
Yeah.
And so you have to do that testing, and you've got to be where the eyeballs are. And in this world right now, that changes all the time.
Yeah, something that I have kind of been talking about recently is top of funnel can go two ways. And it should go both these ways all the time, but you really have two options. One is you get really good at organic and guerrilla unique marketing approaches, which I think you can be really successful at, and probably a big reason why Shyft believes in you, because you've done that over and over.
Yeah.
But then you have paid top of funnel, where you're getting brand awareness through paid advertising over and over and over again. When you're paying for your top of funnel, your customer acquisition cost, also known as CAC, is going to always increase because advertising platforms are just going to get more expensive. When you have this solid organic marketing approach that you can do in tandem, you can lower your customer acquisition cost over time because you're generating all of this for free, right? Or whatever your internal marketing team is doing for you.
Yeah.
So that to me is such a huge piece of what needs to be happening for brands to succeed in the long term. Because if you're relying only on paid, you're screwed. And that's why Dan and I this year literally are trying to practice what we preach. We set up this podcast. We're trying to devote 20% of all of our time to creating content, whether that's posting on LinkedIn or our personal Instagrams or doing podcasts. Just more awareness for who we are and what we're doing. So with Kano, can you share some of the unique organic marketing approaches that you're planning on doing?
Right now, our ad buyer, Connor, he's having a litter of puppies, golden retrievers.
So you're going to have some fun with some puppies.
I'm about to go ham.
Yeah,
like,
no
puppy
kidding.
content, come
of
on.
course.
Like,
yeah.
We're going to have a big litter of puppies. Like,
yeah.
I'm going to go out, I'm going to put them in a box. I'm going to go out on the street and like just make people's day. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
Like, I'm going to have like 5-6 puppies. I don't know how many puppies this dog's about to have, but like this is
they can have
amazing.
a lot. They can have a lot at a time. They can have more than that.
Like I was trying to make storage go viral. Like I'm going to have freaking puppies. Like, come on.
Yeah,
Easy.
dogs.
I mean,
but there's a lot. So, well, explain why Kano's different, because there are a lot of dog brands.
For
right?
sure.
So
I had no idea. Well, my voice just cracked hardcore.
Yeah. So what makes Kano different than all the other, like literally probably thousands of dog brands out there? You even had one at one point on Amazon.
I did have
selling dog leashes.
I sold dog leashes on Amazon.
Oh, well, we're about to. We just got approved. Our brand registry just got approved today.
Let me know if you need help. Only $100,000 an hour.
What was I going to say?
What
unique
makes
about
what makes Kano different?
So right now it's not super unique. We do have a really killer collar, harness, and leash.
Your designs are really cool.
The designs are cool.
It's not a PetSmart design.
Yeah, definitely not a PetSmart design, and it's actually really high quality. And we do a lifetime warranty and free shipping, and all that stuff. We donate 10% of our profits to dog rescue, but
Cool.
it's going to get more unique. Like we really want to take it more in that mischief, hype beast. Like we really want to be like the.
Want to come out with some red boots for doggies?
I mean, we want to make some noise in the way that those streetwear brands have in the dog space. Some people have started dabbling in that, but it's really, that's where we see kind of the white space. We'll still have a lot of really cool features that I'm excited to come out with. It's probably too early to talk about a lot of them, but we want to be more like Kith or Aimé Leon Dior, and live
for dog brands.
We want to be heavily feature based still, but we also really want to lean on a more updated approach to the lifestyle of a dog, because a lot of people just kind of throw out garbage. There's a lot of dog brands out there, and a lot of them cater to that Petco crowd.
Yeah,
or they're kids in their 20s putting Amazon leashes on Amazon, which is what I was doing, and I didn't care about the product, right? Like. I didn't care how cool it was or what features it had. And the lifetime warranty thing is actually really cool because my dog has torn up multiple collars. So, and then I just go buy a new one and I try and find the coolest one at Petco, and they're so ugly. So I think
I'll send you one.
Yeah, dude, that'd be awesome.
Text me your address after this and I'll send you one.
Okay. And he's cute, so he could go viral. I don't know.
Send me a photo in exchange.
Yeah.
That I'll post.
You're going to have and he has an Instagram called Peppergrams.
This is perfect. Dude, we just did.
What? He has an Instagram called
This is how business is done, people. Did
yeah, just right now, right here.
I'm going to send him some product. He's going to post about it.
I also have 2 dogs. Not my personal, but my family does.
Yeah,
so
whatever.
I may as well get some stuff, Levi. Come on.
Stop trying to get. This is just.
No,
you text me too. Yeah. I'll get both of you guys some gear.
Cool.
Sweet.
Well, I just think there is a ton of room for dogs to kind of go lifestyle.
Yeah.
I mean, they kind of are a weirdly.
They are. They're part of the family.
Accessory.
Why not take better care of them?
Well, and we're thinking well, what if we do Nike drops with leash drops and collar drops? Like, what if we correspond them? Like, hey, look at these new Nikes that came out. Here's a set of leashes and collars to correspond with that Nike drop.
That's
pretty cool.
Yeah.
See,
and make them limited edition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure we will.
Yeah.
This is that organic guerrilla marketing approach that I think you're
Super
so
cool.
talented at. So that's going to be really cool.
Well, we have a killer. Our Ryan Jung, our chief design officer, is really good at product and coming up with those ideas. And I've really loved that. Like I said, that synergy between marketing and product. And that's like what Mischief has done. They've used the product as marketing.
Yeah.
And that's what Nike does. Nike doesn't make money off of their exciting shoes. They make most of their money off of their boring stuff. But they use that exciting stuff as the marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. So in the next few years, you're going to be building these brands. You're going to be working on doing a bunch of, I guess, what is your official title at Shyft?
CMO.
Oh,
I lasted a lot more than a day.
Role, didn't
wow.
you?
So we got a C-level executive on the show. I should have worn a tie. So what advice do you have for people that graduated in professional sales
Give up.
to get
Give up now.
to get to CMO? Like, you graduated from Weber in professional sales, you were making $1,000 a month, and now you're CMO of a company that did 21 million last year, and you're going to grow these brands with a goal of $100 million brands. Like,
That's good
how do you
point.
get there?
First of all, I wouldn't be there without LinkedIn, because you guys wouldn't have hit me up from if I wasn't on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And we were
Alex
your
MacArthur
catalyst,
wouldn't have hit me up if I wasn't on
that's-
LinkedIn.
Yeah, we were your start, right?
I wouldn't have been on Neighbor if it wasn't for LinkedIn. And then
None of your jobs.
none of my jobs I would have without being active on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I 100% confidently I can say I would not have that job without LinkedIn. I'm not the best, but I certainly would be the loudest candidate.
Yeah.
And that I've never had to go seeking for those jobs. Like
They've come to you.
Kizik
Every
hit
single
me
one.
up. You guys hit me up. It sounds braggy, but it's like you guys are like, oh, you're available, and we know you. We've seen you. Like, come have lunch.
Exactly.
And then it evolves. Obviously, LinkedIn can get you a seat at the table, but it won't cook the dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you got to know what you're doing.
So that's
sure.
the first thing. Then yes, you do have to actually perform and be good at what you do, or else it's going to become blatantly obvious that you're just LinkedIn fluff.
Well, and I think it's hard to be LinkedIn fluff, honestly, because there's so many experts out there that if you were just talking crap on LinkedIn, it would be sniffed out pretty quick.
Yeah. Well, I think unfortunately some people do fall for it, but I don't think it's going to land you the jobs you want because the people that fall for it probably aren't hiring.
Right.
Yeah, they're probably not listening. The people that they're just listening.
Exactly.
So there's some people that I think pander to the crowd, but the second thing I would say is asking for things that I want. Ask for equity if you weren't offered equity. Ask for a title change if you want a title change. Like when I first started at Kizik, I was like, I want to be a creative director. I've seen what creative directors do now that I've entered this world, and I really like that. And I think that's a career path I'd like to try.
Yeah.
And that just wasn't. There was already someone doing that there, and so neighbor offered it to me, and so putting it out there like this is what I'd like to do. Like if you want to be a CMO, do what TikTok influencers do. Like put me in a movie, and then they just try to grow their TikTok audience. Like just put on there like future CMO, or if you want to be a CMO, start looking for CMO jobs or people that would want to hire one. Or Shyft wasn't hiring a CMO, but I got to know them, and they said, "What would you like?" And I think I'd be good in I told them I'd be good in a CMO role, and then we started narrowing that down and what the day-to-day would look like, and it just became clear that I could provide the value in exchange for the salary, and there I was.
Yep, and it worked out.
Don't be afraid to ask for it, to take a lunch, to put yourself out there. It's what Michael Scott and Wayne Gretzky said. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
It's
Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott.
Well, I think that's really good advice. And you seriously are that example of using LinkedIn as the ultimate resume and using it to showcase everything that you did. Like everything you did at Neighbor, you would showcase. Everything you're doing at Shyft, you're showcasing on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So
if there's a horn, I'll toot it. It's gonna get tooted.
It's gonna get tooted by Levi.
Don't put me in the same room as a horn and expect me not to toot it.
You will toot the horn.
All day long.
If I lock eyes with a horn,
boom.
You best believe it's gonna get tooted.
I love it.
It's gonna get taught.
Okay.
Oh, Levi.
Where was I gonna go from there?
You best believe that horn gonna be tooted.
Oh,
ooh, I'm gonna toot that horn. Oh, that horn's gonna get
tooted.
Toot.
As far as your mental health goes, which has also been a huge part of your journey that you shared on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for people going through school, graduating, getting jobs, being entrepreneurs, starting families, trying to balance it all and keeping their mental health in good shape? What advice do you have for me?
Dude, I don't know if I'm a prime example of good mental health, but one thing that's helped me keep my sanity, medication. I think I love what Jim Carrey said. He said, I believe depression and anxiety are legitimate, but I also believe that if you don't eat healthy, exercise, and have meaningful connections, that you're not giving yourself a fighting chance. Granted, sometimes it's easier said than done. The mind F of depression is that it's yourself telling you that you can't do the things necessary to improve, but wallowing in self-pity that you can't do them and just kind of living
just
in
this
that
circle,
doing in that cycle. I think what you can do is you can scale back, find balls that can drop and let them drop. I think we live in a society that tells you can't drop any of the balls, and that's just not true. Like you don't have to be where everyone else is all the time. Like take a deep breath and allow yourself to scale back a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it's no. Right? I think it's our generation too. I think like we at the same time we've kind of seen like our parents grind for a long time in jobs that they hated, and we don't really want that, and we want to create our own path. But what that comes with is a lot of hats to wear, and we don't want to drop the ball because everything's tied to our personal self-worth and all this stuff. So I think you've found a good spot though. You found a good spot. You found your lane, and I think our generation needs to learn that this is not a rat race anymore. This isn't the rat race of our parents' generation. It's our own lane, and we need to find it and stick in it.
Well, and I think one of the biggest contributors to mental health problems is comparison. And we can compare in a way that nobody's able to compare before. Our parents would have to find out about the promotions. They'd have to find out about the promotions of their friends.
Water cooler talk, dinners with their friends. They had to figure it out.
They'd have to go to a high school reunion to find out like how successful so-and-so was and the company they built.
Social media screwed us
But like
up.
I can look right now and see 12, like I am so over the moon to announce my new position as such and such.
Yeah, and not only like find it out, but in seconds, and then also scroll and see something else that was horrible that's happened. Then scroll again and see something else that's happened.
Our minds were just not meant to consume in the way that we're consuming now.
No,
but everyone, please keep using social media because we need it.
Because we'd be out of a job. We'd be out of a job if you did it.
I know, isn't that weird that we're so marketing and mental health are kind of contradictory. At a juxtaposition. Marketing and mental health kind of conflict with each other.
Yeah.
Because and this is something I've struggled with because I try and run a marketing company while at the same time manage my mental health, when really a lot of the problems with my mental health are from maybe marketers. So I try and find ways to balance that. But
I think it's boundaries, man. Like,
got to set boundaries.
Yeah, which I don't. That's why my screen time goes up every week.
Well, dude, what's really hard, I don't know if you guys have struggled with this, but like I can be talking to a team member at 9:00 at night really easily. And it's just like you get that red dot above an app and you just get that itch. Like I got to see what this message is. And then pretty soon you're working at 4 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It's a very easy loop to get caught in, and then to continue to do it because you did it last week or you did it yesterday. It is an addiction.
Well, there's a hit of dopamine from getting a work notification, but then you open that dopamine hit and it's something you have to solve, and then it's stress.
Yep.
And it's good stress that you should deal with in working hours, but it's not stress you should be dealing with at 10:00 at night.
Yeah.
And so we're just so addicted to dopamine, and then but we don't know where, like, we don't care where that dopamine hit leads.
Yeah, we'll suffer the consequences of whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think to kind of wrap it up, on the topic of mental health, obviously none of us, what we do doesn't define our worth, right? Like, it doesn't matter if we own a company, if we work for a company, if we're on a podcast, if we're not on a podcast, what we wore today, what we're going to wear tomorrow.
If we're going to be at Disney next week.
If we're going to be at Disney next week or not. None of that.
That doesn't define your worth, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
But none of it defines our worth. Our worth was given to us when we were born. And nothing can take that away from us.
And we hit the lottery.
We're super happy to have Levi around. And we think that that's, and we hope that you're really happy to be around. And we love the value that you bring as a person outside of work. You're just fun to talk to. You, as the listeners, aren't going to hear a lot of the stuff that we talk about outside of the podcast. So, Levi, we love having you around.
Thank you so
Very
much.
grateful to have
Thanks
you.
for sharing your story. Thanks for being our CMO for a day. I think that's something
Wait, that's a cool podcast.
Exactly. CMO for a day. I'm just saying.
Oh, where we like talk about a brand.
But here's the thing. I get
dude,
the name
we
though.
just look
name
at
credit.
all of it and just like,
I get the name credit. That's all I'm saying.
okay, you get name credit for sure.
CMO for a day. But I just came up with the idea. So
We
No, that's a great idea.
make their entire content strategy
yeah.
and page strategy.
Guys.
And we
this
don't have
could
them
be a good
on. We
idea.
don't have them on because we don't want their input.
No,
No.
We don't.
We just find different brands and we come up with a strategy on the spot.
even
On the
though we
spot.
could get like the executives of Pepsi, we won't have them on.
We won't.
Because
This is our podcast.
We could.
I'd give them the idea like you should release a Pepsi that also has Peeps flavor,
Oh my
but make it
gosh.
taste pretty much the same.
Uh,
No, I don't know.
Like
Did we
me-
wrap it up, Levi? How about
yeah.
you? How about you outro us a little bit on
where people can find you, where people can find Shyft.
and maybe a little monologue.
You can find me at the local bar.
Oh, really? It's gone that way now.
I don't know. Just connect with me on LinkedIn. You guys are good dudes. I'm grateful. Sorry that I quit after a day.
One day.
I appreciate
You'll
you
always
guys.
be our CMO for a day.
The fact that we
Okay.
can hang out still and talk like this, it means a lot about your guys' character. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Yeah. No. Well, we just love having you around.
Yeah,
so
we do. We love chatting. And more
anytime-
lunches, more Disney trips, in the future, whatever.
You just got to convince me to actually come to Lehigh.
I know.
That's too far of a drive, man.
Oh,
Goodness.
I mean, I guess we were in
It's where
Draper.
the action
Yeah, but
is, man.
Yeah,
But
then I have to,
Lehigh
like,
and
talk to
Draper,
people.
it's the point of the mountain. You go over point of the mountain, it's too far.
I don't know. Talking to
Sound
people
like my mom from
is scary. It's scary. I'm an extrovert, but man, I'm an introvert. You know what I mean? All right.
All right. On that note, thanks again, Levi, for coming.
ADHD. We have it. Diagnose me right now.
Boom. Everyone, let us know.
Let us know in the comments if I have ADHD.
And if we don't get any comments, we're just going to pretend.
Oh my gosh.